Lying, what am I saying? Happy New Year to you and your family. Happy New Year, guys. Happy.
I make you feel in love with me.
Mama san, when I'm out, or can't get the I'm an untwi.
Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Guys, the love that I've been receiving from everyone and with regards to the channel is so refreshing, and I'm really feeling blessed for everyone's support. So thank you so much to those that have already subscribed and those who are following and the channel. Is there such a thing as following on YouTube? No. Subscribing. Newly in the area. But anyway, thank you to everyone who's already subscribed. Thank you for all the likes and the comments and the views. I really appreciate it. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I am baking an order, but while I do that, I know guys, it's like I don't know, we're already in January, but I thought since I'd also be using this channel to review theater shows and talk about my process as an actress, I thought I should have a theater rap. So last year I watched quite a few shows, so I'm going to be talking about those shows. So if I do pronounce someone's name wrong, I am really sorry. I'll do better next time. Number one on the shows that I'm talking about today is Mehlala. So Mehlala is a show I did not watch it. I was part of Mehlala. Mehlala was performed by second year lab students and devised by second year lab students and directed by the one and only Mr. Langa. Was a second year student at the Market Theatre Laboratory. Yeah guys, I'm an alumni something. So the show was performed at the Market Theatre Laboratory on the 16th of June, and then it went to Makanda, and then after Makanda, after performing at the National Arts Festival, performed again at the Market Theatre Laboratory in October on the Ramlao Makena stage. So I will read what the show is about as per web tickets. Mehlala is a powerful story that follows the journey of a young girl named Lethabo as she ventures Johannesburg in search of her mother in a fictional town of Lebone. Directed by esteemed Billy Langa, a Standard Bank Young Artist Award winner for 2023, and he was assisted by then second year student Tammy Kubani. And it is performed, as I've already stated, by the Market Theatre Laboratory second year students. The production weaves together the intricate threads of personal family legacies and community narratives, offering audiences a captivating glimpse into the heart of South Africa's complex history. Complex history being the fact that South Africa, right, is a nation that comes from colonization, but also that we still bear the fruits of colonization in this society today, and we see that by the living situations in our country, the division, the social divide, the Kasi versus your suburbs and everything. And Mehlala is based in an informal settlement, not even Kasi, but like an informal settlement. And a lot happens there. And when Lethabo goes in search of her mother, she comes into this community and she learns of the struggles, not just the struggles, but the holding together of the community, So when we started the process in Mehlala, right, we were told it's going to be a we were attempting verbatim theater, not necessarily verbatim theater, but a touch of verbatim theater. Also, like, we're trying to tell the stories, untold stories of unsung heroes in our community in relation to South Africa, especially considering that last year we were celebrating 30 years of democracy, and we wanted to know what are some of the challenges that most of the families had to go through to be where they are today, considering apartheid, you know, and the challenges that came with apartheid. So some of the stories were mainly around how people had to move from one place to the other to run away from the apartheid situations that were happening in their communities. For example, the story of how my family had to move from Kronstadt to Virginia and Henneman. From Kronstadt to Henneman, running away from Matrimiloni because my uncle was an activist. So my uncle in a little comrade, Lokomatan, don't forget his name. We also talked about other things like the Inkatha Freedom Party and things that happened closer to even us getting our democracy, and how some family members were impacted and affected by this. We spoke about, this is during the process of Mehlala, we spoke about how people that if you find work and you stay in Soweto, I remember making this as an example. Okay, you're gonna go work at Clearwater or at Sandton, at the mall, and then you're coming from Soweto, talking about the transport costs. Like, it's unrealistic. You're earning like between 3,000 to 6,000, maybe even earning less, and you have to travel from Soweto to Sandton or to Ringsig to go to your workplace. And a question that was raised was, why can't these people just stay next to their workplaces? And it's so unrealistic because as someone who stayed in Ringsig, apartments next to Clearwater go for around 7,000. One bedroom apartments. The list I've seen was like 3.5, and this was like in 2015, and it was a sharing. He was sharing with other people, a big house sharing. And so we're talking about such things and how the demarcations of Kasi suburbs were so purposeful and intentional during the time of apartheid, but the effects are still so obvious and evident in society today. So that was the process of Mehlala. We played, you know, I remember we were to all write stories, we had to write pieces. One of the homeworks was to write generational inheritances that we don't like. Some inheritances or some things that we inherited that we didn't like. For example, names or illnesses or the fact that, you know, for example, I'm a black girl in South Africa, and that's a very hefty inheritance, I believe, you know, considering the status of our country. So, like, that's how the process of Mehlala was for everyone. This is not like individual processes. This is the ensemble process that we all did together to get to the stories that we got to. So we all had to write stories, all had to write where we envisioned South Africa 50 years. I don't remember if it was 50 years or 20 years from now. We all had to write stories about neighborhoods. We had stories about, you know, Kasi, Stupu. In Kasi, there's always that respected elder in the community who everyone goes to when they need something. That's how the character of Ndate Francis came about. And Mamrile Bkhile. Also have like Nkasi kids playing in the streets, you know, things like that. And you know, we have that group ditsotsi, that ke ditsotsi ko kasi, but like everyone respects them because they get things done for the community, you know. So we had things like that, and then we spoke about fires, like when we're talking about provision, kokasi, like and access, such as like staying close to your job. It's very hard. We're trying now because you know, kokasi, but it's still very hard to have access kokasi. So when we're talking about access, talking about how, especially in informal settlements, how na bomtlakase. So you know, they steal electricity, they connect illegally, and that's how we came about with this group, the dwellers, being like those gangsters, so they connect people, like, you know, they give people the things that they need. Yet but as it like they don't steal or commit crime in their community of Lebone, but they go to, like, you know, the burbs and other communities to steal for their own community. Some of the things that we talked about to get to the story, yeah, Lebone. Then we end up talking about migration and how some parents or some mothers and fathers, for example, when my cousin was here from Dubai and she was in Joburg, she was enjoying Joburg so much, but she came to December and everyone kept saying, now I'm going home. And I was like to her, yeah, people treat Johannesburg the same way you treat Dubai. They're here for work. They're not here for anything else. And that is a reflection of some of the things we spoke about in the process of Mehlala. Some parents are here in Joburg, you know, hustling for their families back home in Makaya. And while they're here, it's like you can't be here and not have like a life, you know. It's near impossible to be here and not start another life here. You exist in a community with people. So Letabo's mom, Mam Hleng, was here and she met Joacha and they got in a relationship, but Joacha was abusive, you know. So it also suggested that Hleng had not been home for a long time. She had not been home for a long time, and thus Letabo's need or urge to go seek for her mother. And this brought about a few challenges because one of the reviews we had was, what is the story about? Is it about GBV or is it about problems in informal settlements like community fires? Well, the story was about the fire, but I think if we were in TV, would say the A liner. The story A was the fire and story B was the crime or the abuse in the community. But anyway, Mehlala, ne? So let me talk more about my feelings about Mehlala. Mehlala, for me, I enjoyed it. I remember because devising is not easy, guys. It's not easy at all. Like, you know, it's nice to have a show or go act in a show and you're given a script. You're told, here you go, here's the script. Go forth and do what you do. But when you're devising, it's like you're all learning the story as it goes. And from the inside, it would get stressful because you're like, okay, but what does that mean for my character or the other characters? Or it's like we're all figuring things out as they go. What is the relationship between Doris and Mam Hleng? What is the relationship between this person and this person? To the point where some of these relationships were established after Makanda. After Makanda, when we revisited Mehlala again, we realized, oh, actually, this person and this person get along. This person and this person get along. It took being on the floor several times to get to the conclusion. I mean, if you make discoveries of your character when you have an already established script, what more when you're devising, you know? So yeah, some of these things we discovered after Makanda, and also after hearing from people what their thoughts are, you know, like after hearing people say, oh no, we saw it like this, oh we thought this was happening, oh we thought this was happening. And I think that's why it's so important for shows and people, theater shows specifically, to have like constantly have an outside eye, someone to say, I see what you're trying to do, but it's coming across like this. Most times that would be the director, but also because it's a devised piece, the director is figuring it out with the cast, so you might as well just say the director is in it with the cast. So you need someone outside who's not part of the process, who knows nothing about the process, to be like, oh, actually, this and this makes sense, and this doesn't make sense. And that's how we're able to do some of the discoveries that we made when performing the show for the second time. And you know, devising is specifically challenging because like you're working, especially with Mehlala, because we were a cast of 14 or 13. That's a big cast. That's a lot of heads. That's a lot of chefs. And you know the saying, too many cooks spoil a pot. We think differently, we come from different backgrounds, we analyze things differently, we see things differently. So it was like a bit challenging because you're seeing something like this and the other person is seeing it like this, and you're like, okay, what happens now? But that's the beauty of a director as well, because then the director comes and is like, hey, this is how you guys could try it, or do like you get to explore both options that have been put on the floor. And that was the nice thing about devising as well, exploring. You can do anything. Like if this person says, I think we should do it A, the other person is like, I think we should do it B. Listen, we're going to do both. We're going to explore both ways and see which one works. Because at the end of the day, it's about the work. It's not about what individuals think about it. So it was challenging. Devising was challenging. But yeah, it happened. And yeah, we had to constantly bring each other back, find each other of our goal and what our story was about. In Mehlala, I played Neva and Mam Doris. This was pretty easy to come by in terms of characterization. Like it was a character very much familiar with, like that lady. It was much easier for me to play Mam Doris than it was to play Neva. However, it was more enjoyable for me to play Neva than to play Mam Doris. So Mam Doris, ke Mosotho, Waholo, ke me onini in the community, known by everyone, speaks to everyone, knows almost everything about the community, gossips, but also helps out. Like that's who Mam Doris is. So, you know, the language thing was not a barrier. Whereas Neva, first of all, is a gangster. Kitsoti. Iskamto. I don't know if I'm even pronouncing it right now, but Weskamto. He's a guy. Yeah, he's a gangster, speaks Kamto, he's a guy. Iskamto is a mixture of Kistoti Zulu. I don't know how to speak Zulu. I'm not a Zulu speaker. I'm a woman. I like the gangster life. It's not something that I'm exposed to. So Lantol, because time to give it more, you know, Chababo, what was that line? There's a line that in Tlaba, and everyone just started calling me Buru. Cause so like, yo, guys, Buru mfana saka bambi Mehlala kesaka muntu blasha yoda to relax. Hey guys, kibwa boma khonjini ingweya. Like I'm like, yo, here I am drowning, but I did it. I am so proud of myself because I did it. I had a lot of support from my fellow cast members, from my directors, and it was nice. It was nice to be like in a room that's safe for you to play. Like you put that, like people will be like, yeah. Like there's a scene that I do, and then I'm like, pace. I did that as a joke. I did that as a joke because I'm like, I don't know what to do, and I did that, and the director was like, we're keeping that, you're gonna do that. I'm like, yo. And the fact that when I did it, I started it as a joke, and then it was taken seriously. It was like, you're gonna do it now. It was like, at first I was playing, but now it seems serious. So I'd get in my head, and they'd be like, no, play the way that you were playing it before. Just play. And I played, Shame. I played, I enjoyed my characters. I grew. I was able to, I remember saying to someone, you know, when I'm acting, whenever I've acted, I've always acted the sad, serious, dramatic scenes. And for the first time, I got to be comedic. Like serious but comedic. And I got to explore characters that I've never explored. Not characters, but a character I've never explored. Like I never thought one day I'll play a gangster. Totsinya allegation, like I think I'm such a great girl, but that's what I admired about the lab. Like it really helped me get out of my bubble, really helped me explore and become a better actress. So yes, for me, Mehlala was definitely the girl that she thought, or the guy that she thought she is. It was such a beautiful story. Billy Langa brought in an aspect of not dance but movement, use of body to tell story. He gave us that element in our piece, and it became such a multi-disciplinary type of storytelling. A use of suitcases as anything. Like the suitcases went from being Jojo tanks to being shacks to being suitcases to being like buckets, to being a house, like to being in Baula. Like it was like, yeah. And the costume department, Sonia, that did such the work was beautiful. What I appreciated more about the costume as a cast member was that we're going to Eastern Cape in June. Eastern Cape is cold. Oh God, I know Eastern Cape. It can be hot, but it can be cold. And like these guys gave us jerseys and socks. I'm like, oh guys, you're so sweet. But also like a big props to Ndate Bililanga, guys. You're working with a large group of people to achieve what was achieved. I can imagine it's very challenging. He pushed us, guys. I don't know, maybe I speak for myself, but I grew. I think I grew. So this day I still sit down and like think, oh. And you know, when people were like, oh my gosh, you did it so well. Like you went from old lady to young gangster. That was so cool. Like, yeah, the work was not all me. It was my cast members. It was my directors. So yeah, I'm grateful for the support that we all had with regards to doing Mehlala. And if I was to rate Mehlala out of 10, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. How working, it won an ovation and stuff. Hey, it won a bronze ovation and stuff. I'll give it a 10 out of 10. Okay, I'm joking, guys. Perhaps an 8.5 out of 10. It was a really, really well put together show. And I think like every other show, it does have the potential to grow. After every show, you figure new things out. So it has a lot of potential, a lot of potential. Also, I'm the one that came up with the name Mehlala. There was a petition, not a petition, but there was a call out for names for our show, what we're gonna name our show. And then I remember asking one of my classmates, okay, how about footprints, since you know it's the I forgot the name that was used to describe Mehlala before it was devised, a tapestry of, you know, lives and families and so I was like, sounds like footprints, you know, we walk in the footprints of those that have walked the earth. And also we're examples, and they were examples. So Mehlala, my babe, I enjoyed it. I finally got to see Tsalo. So yes, the next show I'm going to be talking about is Tsalo. Tsalo is a celebration of the art of solo performance, a narrative that is carried in both physicality and voice. It is placed in a timeless space of existence, which explores the primary themes of being, chaos and beauty, blood and birth, love and war in the same frame. Presented by Standard Bank Young Artists for Theatre, Billy Langa and Mahlati, Tsalo is a celebration of the art of solo performance, a narrative that is carried in both physicality and voice. It is placed in a timeless space of existence, which explores the primary themes of being, chaos and beauty, blood and birth, love and war in the same frame. The poetry, prose, and physical storytelling in Tsalo furnish us with the necessary tools to engage in a deep meditation. It undoubtedly begs the question or theory of being, becoming, and unbecoming. I enjoyed Tsalo, man. I enjoyed Tsalo. I enjoyed the music. I enjoyed the physical performance. I enjoyed the poetry. With Tsalo, there's no like fourth wall things. No, they were going on. It was engaging with the audience. You know, it's almost like I was present with Billy on stage. Also, guys, when I tell you about Ndate Langa's performance, yo, that guy is a performer, man. Like even the way that, you know, when I was in part-time, I used to like be like, nah, I want to be like this guy. Because even the way that he just walks on stage, he's already like carrying this presence of, I'm here to tell a story. I'm gonna be clear in my telling of story, and you're gonna enjoy the story I'm gonna tell as much as I'm gonna enjoy telling the story. He uses a blanket as a prop, and you can tell in the storytelling of this blanket it's very precious. It means something. It's not just a prop, it's a body on stage as well. Just like this wasp is a body in my house. My God. Also telling the story, it's part of telling, and it's in the way he handles it, you know. He doesn't just take it and treat it like, oh yeah, here's a cookie cutter. It's a cookie cutter, but it means something. There's a connection between the cookie cutter and the person telling the story. There's a history, there's a relationship. Oh my God, guys. The lighting as well. Yo, the lighting was beautiful. It worked so well with the movement, like the movement that was being done. It worked so well with the poetry. Like guys, I wish I could say 600 things at the same time, because that's what's happening in my mind right now when I think about Tsalo. And I remember we were talking about, a few friends and I were talking and we were thinking, we were talking about whether Tsalo is a theatre piece, in terms of the, I don't want to say contemporary, but the like the normal, what we would deem theater. Tswalo does not necessarily fit into that category. It's such a beautiful concept, like taking different elements of storytelling and creating a piece that might not be received as a theater piece, but is essentially a theater piece. And we're talking about how we don't view poetry as storytelling, because we're still encapsulated in this ideology of poetry being it's just there, you know, can't be performed. It's there, but in actual fact, it can be performed. It can be told as a story. And when we're talking, also touched on the fact that he doesn't think that, which I essentially agree with, he doesn't think that Tswalo can exist without the movement of it, like how he performs it. Like, in order for the text to hold the weight that it holds, it does need the movement. Also, our bodies are essentially poetic on their own, but it's like with Tswalo and the way that it was done, the way that it was written, and for the purpose that it was written, essentially the text needs to coexist with the movement for it to be carried forth. So that was interesting. When I go far, Zalango Mama. When I go far, oh, you're gonna go far. Talking about pieces, like movement pieces. So what Tswalo was not is a dance piece, but what Sion is a dance piece. Guys, yo! I watched Sion in Makanda. When I watched Sion in Makanda, I was like, this one is a nice piece. Sioni Munati. Sioni Munati. The dancing, the music, whoo, the lighting. Luna. Halitsubin. Like, I literally can't say anything about Sion except that it was really nice. I really enjoyed it. One of my facilitators used to mention this a lot, that device talk about how, like, for us as Africans, storytelling isn't a new thing. Like, we've always been storytellers. Storytelling is in our blood. Storytelling is who we are. And because of that, for us, this theater thing and the way that we have been taught theater is not how we would tell stories. Because, you know, it's like when we tell stories, we expect the people that we're telling to say Kogi, or in Zulu they say Kwasukasukela. You expect people to say Kosi, to show that the people you're telling the stories to are engaging and they're hearing the stories. And then I remember when we were watching Sion, right? I think there was a time when, I'm not sure if it was Itagazelo or what, but there's something that they did. And all the Africans in the theater, not all the Africans, but, you know, people in the theater started ululating. And I know we're sitting behind these folk. And as people ululated, they were so irritated. I'm like, my sister, irritated how? How are you irritated? Please. As Sin was realized, my number one favorite show. It will remain my favorite show until otherwise. I don't know, like, guys, Luna. I'm definitely not going to get through all the shows. These are not necessarily reviews. We'll do reviews. We're gonna do reviews. Reviews are coming. These are just my experiences of the shows, right? I want to talk about my other favorite show. Moli fifin kalibitsa la moya kalibitsa so let's just so. But anyway, Moya is written and directed by Mama Matsuyoni. She wrote and directed Kalibitola Moya, set in the fictional town of Hasata. The community is heavily riddled with poverty, joblessness, crime, and are unhappy with the government's lack of service in the community. The people of Hasatani grow restless. However, the arrival of a charming new priest pacifies their anger and offers them hope for a better life. But hidden behind his charm lies a wolf in sheepskin. Yes, it puts it together so well, right? Because that's exactly what Kalibitola Moya is about. And I think it's relatable. It's so relatable in today's society. In South Africa, with this hype, yebo papa, yebo what? Because this pastor, Mudidi, marries this lady, Mamrut, who already has a child, Lefa, right? In this community. And then we have Tipuo, who is like, she's a church member. But Tipuo lanaga obatla morutu wa bona. Because morutu o handsome man. Morutu na le charm ya hae, una le handsome ba hae, you know. Tipuo has a child called Lenzwi. Lenzwi is very talented. She's a good singer and everything, and she sings for the church. She's in the church choir, praise and worship and whatnot. And then there's Munapule, who is pastor's right-hand man, I would say. Momo was very smart and creative in naming the characters, because according to me, the characters' names go with their roles. Their role and their characteristics within the play. For example, Dipuo. Dipuo is ghetto. Dipuo ghetto. Dipuo is so ghetto, guys. I feel like I'm so like the fact that her name is Dipuo and I feel like that's what I admired the most about the show. Like the fact that the characters, the names represent exactly what they are. Lefa, Maha is hoping. You know? Lenzwi. The fact that her name is Lenzwi and she has a beautiful voice in terms of singing. I just liked that. I also liked that the pastor's name Kimudidi, meaning poverty. Mari, he's busy promising people wealth. And people are believing him. The oxymoron. Oxymoron, it's not even an oxymoron. This pastor, whose name is Mudidi, who's very dodgy, but has a very sweet tongue, is the one that's gonna take us out of poverty. Kalibitola was nice, it was relatable. Like, our people are always searching for solutions from churches, you know, because, you know, we are constantly told to solution is, you know, God is our provider, He's the solution and everything. And there are people who take advantage of this. There are people that take advantage of this. The people that take advantage of the fact that, like, people are in need and they're desperate for things, you know. But there's like this person does not even believe in God. They're busy doing cults. They're busy taking people's monies. Like, hey guys, so realistic. Worst part is that this pastor is a pedophile. And it happens, you know. It reminded me of the Sherelle Zondi story. Okay, like, sometimes these kids go to church, you know. You're in the praise and worship. You think you're serving God and everything. And no one is going to believe you, you know. But at least like this time there was a witness, you know. Munapule came through. I just about to habu maka country is here. I really hope that Osmomo brings back Kalibizula Moya so that it can be watched by people again. And I hope that it will be watched by Christians. You see, hey guys, this thing of ours, people are playing with it. People are playing, they're using God's name to do stupid things. Prophesied to someone, like, can I prophesy? And he did something so silly, like, his prophecy was so silly, like, you have 2 eyes, something like that. I forgot exactly what the prophecy was, but that's exactly what happens. You find that stop professor, your name is Retabi. Since I get oh yes, Papa, go deeper, Papa. No, guys, Kalibizolamoya touched a lot on the social and religious aspects of our societies. People are desperate for jobs. People are desperate to get out of poverty. So if someone just comes with a tiny, bitty, witty sense of hope, our people are already there, like believing in this person. This one is the one that's going to do it for us. And that's exactly what happened with Kalibizolamoya. Like, it was just like, I remember they even wanted to vote for him, for Pastor Mdiji to be mayor. What? Hey, it's so polar. It was so funny that all of a sudden this man of God is interested in politics. He was even using a fake name. I enjoyed it. The music was beautiful. My God, the band, the cast. Oh wow, guys. I remember what I admired most. There's this exercise, this vocal exercise that we do. It was like divi 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 dum dum divi dum 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 divi dum divi 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 dum dum divi dum 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 divi dum ya 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 divi dum 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 divi dum. Now they said utraela ke sinokwan down with sinokwan utraela ke sinokwan down with sinokwan. Creativity at its level, what? It's level based. Creativity at its level based. Oh yes, and in Kalibizolamoya, Kimang Tato, that is just yes, guys. Man, guys, that man plays on stage. I enjoyed watching them. Like all of them, they played. Marawana, this character Mruti, and that just yes killed it. Also, like there was no resolve at the end with regards to what happens to this pastor. But I also guess it's a reflection of, as my husband made me see, it's a reflection of like in real life, whether these pastors are not held accountable, whether they get away with it, the things that they do. So I guess it's that. I mean, okay, wanini Malawi. So I was supposed to start reviewing theater shows last year, but I was scared. But this year we're not fearing anything. We're watching theater shows, we're reviewing them, and we're getting people to love theater and watch theater. Guys, watch theater. It's nice. It's great. It's awesome. My phone is flat, so I have to finish this. I have to wrap this up. Hobbit, which was playing at the National Children's Theatre. It was so nice. I enjoyed it. Oh my gosh. I loved the use of like everyday domestic tools to make props. It was so nice. I enjoyed Hobbit, but I don't think I enjoyed it as much as my daughter enjoyed it. Like when we went on, because it was such a long show, when we went on a break, she was like, are we leaving? I'm like, no, we're gonna come back. And I could hear her breathing out, like, at least Hobbit was great. Afropocalypse was great. I'm not gonna rate these shows right now because I want to finish, but like I really enjoyed the shows, and so did my daughter. Like I really enjoyed. Guys, this year's lab second years, oh my god, they are bringing it. Those children are talented, very talented. And then I watched Young Tall. Young Tola is very nice. Also touched on social issues, especially the fact that, like, you know, most times when we see people in the street, I've been around people that see people in the street and assume that these street people, these street kids, they want to be there. But with all honesty, I don't think anyone likes staying in the streets. And most times in the country that we live in, the situations, the state of the nation, like, it allows for people to do drugs because you're at home, you're unemployed, you're fighting as much as you can to get other opportunities. But it's like, hey, you know, things are not coming together. And most times people then turn to drugs, then turn to cry. Like in the show, I'm told this guy tries so much to fight and get his life in order, but it just doesn't go well for him. He goes to rehab, he comes back, like it's a lot. So I really like stories that tell, like, that I can relate to, can be like, yeah, this is exactly what happens. Or teachable, I enjoy teachable moments I enjoy, and that's why I'm saying that people should go watch Kalibizo la Moya, because there's a teaching there that I think we can all afford to take with us, you know. Tababusiu, oh my god, guys, I almost left Tababusiu out. I almost forgot about it. But to wrap this conversation up, I will wrap it up with Tababusiu. Guys, I enjoyed the show so much. I really enjoyed it. Felt represented, I felt seen. It was really nice. So yes guys, that wraps my theater wrap for 2024. I'll be attending more theater shows this year. I'll actually be doing proper reviews. No time to fear in the land of the living. We just need to work and get rid of the fear. So thank you guys, thanks for watching, bye. I made another video because I couldn't believe that I left out Text Me When You Arrive. That show was devised by Cars, directed by Mehlala, produced by Pop Art. What a show. Yeah, I enjoyed it, I loved it. And once again, I could relate. There was a lot of teachable moments. And I feel like for where we are as a country, Me When You Arrive will be a relevant show for years to come. The girls, they played. They again, a satire piece. They played. They took serious issues, put them into play, and still made it land. I didn't find myself triggered at any point. I didn't find myself crying at any point. The whole time I was laughing, but I was like, oh my gosh, that is so true. Actually, like, what is this misogyny nonsense? What is this GBV nonsense? What is this entitlement to our bodies? What a show. I just had to come back and talk about Text Me When You Arrive. The girlies did the things. Tuli, Sbahle, and Aliyah did the things. I loved Text Me When You Arrive. When it comes back, you guys definitely have. It's a show that you have to look out for. Look out for Tswalo, look out for Text Me When You Arrive, and look out for Kalibizo la Moya. Teachable moment, relatable, love it.